Today is September 23rd. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey, brought to you each and every day by Munganast St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. Rammer Cardinals played their last home games of 2024 this past weekend, taking 2 out of 3 from the Cleveland Guardians. But really kind of the story all comes off the field. All the play on the field, Andre Palante, another nice start, all that. But I think the headlines are from a guy who did not see a single pitch the entire weekend, and that has to do with the comments made by one Wilson Contreras in the game, as he afterwards, or I guess during the weekend, talking about the identity of the team moving forward and kind of just flat out saying that the front office needed to do stuff. Here is what he had to say. There are some areas that need to be addressed. I don't know if the front office is going to, but we didn't come together as an offense at all during the whole year. There's a lot of holes throughout the lineup as well, from 1 to 9. The only thing that we can control is show up next year and keep working. But as an organization, I think the Cardinals are one of the biggest organizations in baseball. And if I was them, if I was the front office, I'd be hungry to own this division. We haven't owned this division the last 2 years. That's a captain speaking on behalf of the locker room and those that you expect back in 25.
Yeah, and so will he get the Mike Schilt treatment? I don't know. It remains to be seen. They're an organization that likes the old never has heard, a discouraging word. So we'll see. And everything he said, in my view, is correct. I've been talking about for a while now the identity. Look, the Cardinals thought they were going to slug. You're 20 home runs short between Arenado and Goldschmidt. Contreras got hurt. That's not the front office's fault. But he was going to give you 25 homers total. So you're probably, 30 to 35 home runs less? How many more wins would that be? The point is, though, you got to, at some point as an organization, you got to be real. You got to understand the reality. Well, we want to slug. Guess what? You don't have any sluggers. So what are you supposed to do? Well, we'll do pitching, speed, and defense. Well, guess what? You don't have the pitching for it, and you choose not to run. The highest stolen base total on the Cardinals is 19 by a given player. There are 45 more players in the big leagues with more stolen bases. 45. This organization chooses not to run. If they did, you'd have Wynn running. You'd have Donovan hitting second. You'd move. They got Burleson. They fell in love with Burleson hitting too. Hey, that's fine. Guess what? He's not Soto. He should have been hitting fourth in this lineup, desperate for production. It's just they couldn't figure out. I know who they wanted to be, but they never could admit that they weren't the team they wanted to be. And so how do we be competitive with what we have? You have to adapt. You have to improvise. And this organization was not able to do it.
And I think going into the season, and I feel like we've probably talked about this back in March and April, you said it first. It was a team that wanted to slug. If you get half the production out of Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman that you thought you were going to, let's not even talk about the lack of production from Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. If you just got half of what you thought from them,
that'd only be 30 to 40 more homers.
Right. And that's right there. I mean, you're looking at, yes, I think they went into it thinking, hey, we got Gorman, we got Walker. They're gonna explode. They're both gonna just hit the cover off the ball. And it just didn't happen at all the entire year. And that, I think, plays in a lot more than Arenado. Yeah, because
point.
And I think that too changes how you approach those two in the lineup throughout the whole year.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point. We just identified 4 players that all fell woefully short of the anticipated home run production, power production. I count doubles too, power production. You're absolutely right. So there's half your lineup that you were counting on really significant power that didn't deliver. Arenado was okay. Goldschmidt, what's he got? 21 home runs. That's, it's okay. but the 160, 70 strikeouts is not. So things didn't go according to plan. But at what point do you say, this isn't going right? We're going to have to figure it out and adapt. Let me give you another example. Ivan Herrera. This dude can hit, yet they only play him about 3 times a week. Look, I understand the Cardinals don't love his arm. Okay. You want to be a defensive team? That's fine. Put Pages back there, but Herrera's got to be in the lineup. With Contreras down, Herrera is your best hitter. Now, I also know that his swing is very complicated. And anybody who's got a complicated golf swing knows if one thing goes wrong, it could be a real mess. But you got to go with what you have in front of you. And to not play that kid is you're not doing yourself any favors. And you like Pages as a defensive catcher? Well, he's better than Contreras and Herrera. I give you that. But if you're going to say, here's our defensive lineup, he's got to be at least as good as Pagnazzi and Matheny. And guess what, folks? He ain't. So who are you? This goes to your original point when we came on today, Joe. You're so right. Who are we? And they don't have an answer.
And that's something that not only does the Cardinals front office need to figure out by next year, the marketing department, I think, needs to figure that out too, to come out with some sort of pitch to get people to come out to the stadium.
Got to sell tickets, right?
Yeah, because yesterday after Sunday's game, it was announced the Cardinals' attendance last year, for this past season, 2,869,783 in paid attendance for 2024. Since the park opened in 2006, that is the first time that Busch Stadium 3 has drawn less than 3 million fans in the season. So what are you going to do in the front office to make fans excited? And then as the marketing department goes, how do you sell that to get those 3 million people to come through your gate next year and start a new streak? 18-year streak ended this past season.
Yeah, it's really a shame, and you want to be a power hitting team. I think that's awesome, but you got to have some power hitters. And how can you afford to go get them? The TV deal is going away, or it's going to be drastically altered. Your food and beverage is way down. Tickets are down. Where's your money going to come from? So you have to figure out how you can win with what you have. And that's why, okay, we thought this guy was going to be a 30 home run guy. He's not. Can he be a guy that's got a high on base, low strikeout, put the ball in play? That's good. You can win with that, but you got to figure out who you are.
The Cardinals still have 1 week of baseball left to hopefully get themselves over 500 on the season. They will head out to Colorado and then San Francisco right now with a record of 79 and 77. So just 2 wins to secure themselves at 500 on the year. We talked about it before. It's been 50 years, I think, since they've played 2 full seasons and went back-to-back years of being under 500. So you just need to win 2 games between Colorado and San Francisco to get yourself there in this final week of the season.
And I think they will. Look, let's be honest. As much as I like to complain, you're not a complainer, but I am. I admit it. I'm a whiner. But this is a mediocre team. They're not a horrible team. I know a lot of us around, the Cardinals suck. No, they've just underachieved. And with injuries, maybe it's not even an underachievement. They're mediocre. The problem is mediocrity begets apathy. And that's the worst thing a team that's trying to sell tickets can have. Apathy in the community. They're a 500 club, and that, as I said, begets apathy, and that's a real problem.
And Rammer, it's been over 65 years since they have actually gone back-to-back years at sub 500. It was the 1958 and 1959 season for that. I
didn't realize that. I would have thought maybe a couple of those 70s years back-to-back. But again, bad teams and then a bunch of mediocre teams, and you could walk into a stadium, the old Memorial Stadium, you can go sit wherever you want many of those years.
Let's be realistic about this. I get right now it is a team without an identity. We don't know what this team is going to look like going into next year. But
Right.
I have seen the things making the rounds on social media of sell the team. Oh, it's not like it once was. Oh, October's used to mean something in St. Louis. It's been 2 damn seasons. Two seasons since they have been in the postseason when they won the NL Central and hosted the Phillies in the first weird new wild card that we're used to. The year before that, they went on a huge streak to make it into the postseason. They lost on a walk-off home run to the Dodgers in 2021. And the year before that, they were also in the postseason in that COVID year. So it's been 2 years that they haven't made the postseason. The Angels and Mike Trout are going on 10 years of no postseason. I mean, this is the first year that we are going to get to see Shohei Ohtani play postseason baseball because he's been stuck down the road in Anaheim his entire career.
Yeah, amazing.
His entire career. So we're sitting here bitching and moaning over the fact that it's been 2 seasons, and for a better part of the year, this is a team that was in a pretty decent spot to make a run at the playoffs. That hot streak just never came.
Everything you say is true, but the fan base won't and shouldn't accept mediocrity.
Yes, and I get that. I understand that. Yes, but it's been 2 years. Like last year was an anomaly for a 90-loss season. Hopefully it is a long ass time since they lose 90 games. Guess what? Drive 4 hours north. That team would love to be happily 90 losses on the year. Instead, the White Sox social media account has just given up on all things.
They're going to end up
baseball this
year. They're going to end up the worst team in the history of baseball.
Yes, and if you go around. Rammer, if you opened up the phone lines on 550 tomorrow, you would think that this team had 125 losses on the year, the way some of the fan base reacts.
And that was my point. That's not fair. But to get people excited, Mason Wynn, was terrific. Brendan Donovan is a guy we all love, but you don't see the old Cardinal way kind of baseball. Oh, yeah. You had superstars. You had Hall of Famers producing, but the way they played the game, and I'm not trying to stroke the B-fibs, but Cardinal fans know baseball.
Yeah.
And anybody can see somebody hitting 45 home runs. That's really cool. But somebody who can intentionally move a runner along and take the extra base and hit and run and do those kinds of things, that's what Cardinal fans understand. The metrics people who have taken over the game, not just in St. Louis, by the way, the game of Major League Baseball, who have taken it over, they discount that you can win that way. And Cardinal fans recognize that.
1 week left of the Cardinals season. We'll talk more about the Cardinals and Rockies tomorrow. Another thing to look forward to for this final week of the season and into 25, Michael McGreevy is going to be making 2 starts, Tuesday and Sunday. So something that I've been kind of pounding the table on for the last few months. We will get to see him pitch on Tuesday and on Sunday to end the season. Now, especially with Lance Lynn on the IL and Sonny Gray also shut down for the season.
I'm really excited to see McGreevy, but as you know, I'm a fear and loathing guy. Angst is my favorite word. And my fear is that when the league figures him out next year, the 92 mile an hour fastball, he's going to have to be perfect. Now, here's my hope. My hope is he is perfect. And it looks like he really knows how to pitch. So fingers crossed for McGreevy.
Rammer, also fear and loathing in Oakland as the A's officially
Yes,
announced that they'll be moving to Vegas coming up at the end of this season, or I guess starting their move to Vegas at the end of
with a
this
stop
year.
in Sacramento.
Yeah, with and that's one I wouldn't mind going out there and watching a game in
We
the
should
next
do
year or
that.
two, and see just kind of see what that's like out there. But John Fisher, the Oakland A's owner, wrote a long letter to the fans today, kind of just saying, "Hey, we've had some real good times here." And then, put the blame on everybody but himself as to why the team needs to move out to Vegas when that stadium is built. Um, I believe they have 3 games at home this week, and then they end the season. They play this weekend on the road. The A's players and manager Mark Kotze have been told, "Hey, after the game on, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday, get the hell out of there. The game
Yeah, we're
ends,
shutting it down.
get out." Yeah, and I think it's more of a fear of, listen, we have a bunch of angry fans. We don't really know what they're going to do after the game. We want to keep you
Oh,
guys safe. They just don't want fans running on the field one last time at the Oakland Coliseum.
that's interesting. And moreover, get off the field and let's get the clubhouses locked up.
Yeah, that's I believe Bob Nightingale reported that because Mark Kotze had said that he wanted to grab a microphone after the game and thank the fans and just kind of, because the players, I think, have been pretty adamant about, hey, we like you, we love the fans that have been out here cheering
Yeah,
for
of
us.
course.
This isn't our choice. And most of them probably won't see that stadium in Vegas unless they're with another organization. So I think it's a matter of, they want to say thank you one more time. And I think ownership and the front office has just been like, nope, you guys need to get into a safe spot.
Yeah, that's probably right. I think as frustrating as it must be for fans and players, that's probably the right call.
And finally, last 2 bits of news: the Reds, first team to fire their manager here the last week of the season. David Bell fired after 5 years in Cincinnati. Had recently, at the end of last year, signed an extension through the
2 year.
2020, 2-year extension, and they said, nope, hey, not working. Whatever magic you had at the end of 23 wasn't happening this year. We're going to go a different route in next year.
Did you see Skip Schumacher's comments to the media? I think he feels like he's going to get the gas too. I'd love to have him back in the Cardinal organization. I think he's terrific.
I think definitely that is a guy, that is a voice that has been missing the past few years from the Cardinal locker room. And I think you could tell that. I mean, when you look at pieces that have been missing the last couple years, I think Skip, Yachty, those are some of the names that kind of jump out at you as guys that are gone now. That were here just 2 years ago when they made that postseason run. And finally, Rammer, the C.J. Abrams story. You talk about a crazy story to end the season. C.J. Abrams, the all-star shortstop for the Washington Nationals, has been demoted down to AAA for the end of the season after spending all night into the morning hours at a casino up in the Chicagoland area.
Maybe he was hot. You can't walk away from a hot table. Come on, be realistic.
He say Abrams out. Yeah, Chicago area casino did not return back until hours before the Nationals' Friday afternoon game against the Cubs. Reading reports that he was out until about 8 a.m.
Well, I would say this. I appreciate letting young players know what's expected of them. And I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but have they never heard of the Yankees in the 50s with Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford and Billy Martin? They should read a little history. Abrams is a hell of a player.
I am not one for the casinos, but I mean, a night in Chicago can very easily get away from you.
Oh, don't I know?
Yeah. 8 a.m. though is really, really impressive. I can attest that I have never once seen 8 a.m. without a night of sleep in the city of Chicago.
I may have seen the sun come up, but not 8 a.m.
And that better been one hell of a heater that he was on, because he's set to lose about $30,000 of his major league salary on his rookie contract with the demotion down to AAA. So
yeah,
yeah,
that feels like a pretty extreme reaction, but that's pretty extreme behavior. So they can run their organization any way they want. And I don't know anything about the kid except what I see as a player. And maybe he's a guy that does need some boundaries.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a timeout. I mean, that's what it is. It's a timeout. He's being grounded, however you want to say it. That's what I wonder if it's different if this is July instead of the last week of the season.
If they're in contention, yes.
Hey, that's going to do it for our show today. Cardinals are in Denver taking on the Rockies for 3 starting tomorrow and then ending in San Francisco this upcoming weekend. 79 and 77 on the year as they head in to the final 6 games of 2024. We will be back tomorrow to preview that series in Colorado, with more of Daily Cards Live, brought to you every day by Royal Banks of Missouri and Mungenast Burkhardt Alton Toyota. That's where Mike Claiborne and I will be tomorrow, 850 Homer Adams Parkway in Alton, Illinois. We will be there doing the lunch show on a Tuesday and checking out all of the new cars they have out on the lot out there at Mungenast Burkhardt Alton Toyota, including those hybrid RAV4s, one of which I've been driving around for the last month, driving it around and not having to fill it up that much with gas because of just how great the gas mileage was on those hybrid RAV4s, about 38, 39 miles to the gallon. Wow. It was absolutely it was a money saver being able to drive that, thanks to the folks out at Mungenast Burkhardt Alton Toyota. Until then, he is Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you next time right here on Daily Cards Live.
From our roots in St. Louis, Royal Banks of Missouri is branching out to continue serving you with our locations in St. Charles, Jerseyville, Granite City, and now in Hannibal, Center, and New London. Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank in your community.